Nimiipuu. We the people, an expression of community, of purpose, and vision. We all know these words from the U.S. Constitution, but the people named the Nez Perce by French trappers were using those words to define their community, their purpose, and their vision long before Europeans came to this land. We the people, Nimiipuu. The Nez Perce have occupied their traditional lands for countless generations, from the Wallowa Mountains in present-day northeast Oregon, south to the Salmon River country in Idaho, east to the Bitterroot Mountains of Montana, and north to the Snake River country in Washington state. The Nez Perce have fished for salmon, hunted buffalo and other game, and dug roots, living in relative with neighboring tribes in a traditional manner, as the Creator had intended. The Nez Perce are defined by four intertwined roots: land, language, rituals, and foods. Many Americans probably know a few of the places, words, customs, and foods of the cultures of their ancestors, no matter where they come from. For the Nez Perce, though, the connection is stronger and more vital to survival in our homeland. To come to know these things is to know more and more about personal identity and as part of being Nimiipuu.
I could go back now to this old way of life because of the power it has. Many people don't understand this power that has come from living the old way, the Indian way. The way they got their wagon and their way, they're given this direction by the animals and the birds and the strength that they got from these. What our people did was for a strong purpose, and that purpose is our way of life now.
I think the Nez Perce people historically have been a very proud people. Looking back at history, you see that the Nez Perce people were always, I believe, friendly people, but at the same time were also great warriors. The history and tradition culture is rich for the Nez Perce tribe, and I think that's something we've always been proud of, and we hope that will continue in the future. And we know that people worldwide recognize the Nez Perce tribe, and we just want to uphold what our ancestors and former leaders have laid the foundation for us to follow.
Nez Perce people have always come out in the forefront. They've been willing to sacrifice. They've been willing to accept diversity, and they always go forward. They take care of their young people, they take care of the old people. They're very religious people.
We are Nimiipuu. We are Itsiayamamai, it's children of the coyote. We are the people of this land. We have a very proud and strong heritage. Our land covered clear down into the Columbia, clear over into Montana, and some say even down into California. And that's who we were, and that's who we are. And we were recognized for our intelligence and for our generosity and for our kind-heartedness, but also for our bravery and for our strength of family. So that's who we are, and that's who our children are being taught to be.
The Nez Perce that were in the past were very noble, very proud, very rich. Of course, they were horse people. They were very cultural. A lot of that is still with us, and I think we should be very proud as Native people. Our strong culture and heritage that ties all of us together, that makes us one. That's why we are the people.
Language brings understanding to the ritual. Ritual honors the gathered food. Gathering the food takes us to the sacred places. The sacred places enrich our language. Land, language, foods, ritual. Gifts from the Creator to the Nimiipuu. Today, Nez Perce of past generations are still reaching out to the next generation.
The tribe's mission is to protect, perpetuate, and promote the Nez Perce culture, and at the same time, we know the exact areas where we have to hit, and that's our youth. And we didn't have any area or any program that just set aside time where they would just learn culture and learn about those things in a safe environment. And what I mean by safe is a lot of times we can defeat ourselves by maybe comparing or competing of how much knowledge we know, and that the purpose is for everybody to learn and to understand where we're at in our knowledge, and that it's okay not to know. Hopefully when they leave here they'll go away with a more sense of who they are, and that it's okay to ask questions. I think many of us know growing up we'd be afraid to ask because we were afraid that we didn't know the right answer or those kind of things. So those are things we have to deal with if we want to save our culture.
When we have to compete with modern society, these kind of programs are really helpful to what we're trying to achieve here with these kind of workshops. What I see here is very important. You see, many things that's being taught here you don't find in the schools. You can see the eagerness that they have to want to learn these things, informing our young people this good way of life. That's why I'm here.
Members of the tribe still gather at places like Talmaks and Mud Springs, on the Kempis Prairie, and the Columbia River.
It has been a place that our family has come for years and years. We all have our own traditional campsites, and I'm 51 years old, and I've probably been up here 51 summers. I think I may have missed one in all the time I've been here. And there were many people that crossed the reservation prior to email and being able to drive up and down the rivers. People congregated here, and they met and dated and married. My grandparents met up here, and Joe and Pauline Samuels. So it was just a good place to meet. And traditionally when people came here, they were here for 2 weeks. The people went hunting and they went fishing, so there was just a lot of other things to do besides being here, going to church. And it'll probably change a little bit over time, but they'll still be gathering food. I think that's, and that's what I'm trying to teach my grandchildren is, what foods to look for and how to prepare them. And hopefully the trees will still be here. It's probably the last old growth on the reservation. So it's just, I think there are a lot of memories here for people, and they just choose to come back here and spend the time.
It's something that's not just a way of life, it's the tradition, it's something that's really of value to my family, and they just showed that importance to me. I've been here fishing here about 18 years now. I just started when I was about 21, 22, and it's really picked up. I really enjoy it. Gives me a feeling, it fulfills my life. It's something I really missed, that I didn't know I missed because it was never shown to me. And I think more people need to be shown that these things belong to us because it's something that is a resource that we need to improve on. It's part of our life. It's a big cycle, and the river's part of it. I think that's really important to us. Our kids, need to know this stuff. My children, I got friends that I fish with that tell me this stuff. They're my elders. And we really need to pass this down because nobody else will, The oral tradition, it's not dead. We have other ways to preserve our culture, but oral tradition still exists, and I think that's the most important way to pass things on. It's been done for thousands of years, and it works. Our rights are used down here because we have them. We need to exercise them because they'll go away. Everybody in every tribe tells me that. We need to keep exercising. I agree with most of what everybody says, but it does belong to everybody. The river does.
The Nimiipuu have always been a people noted for their wisdom, for their generosity, and for their hospitality. The Nimiipuu are a people who value justice, bravery, and self-discipline. Often, Nimiipuu values are challenged, even betrayed by the other cultures who come to their lands. History, the living memory of past events, shapes that perspective as well. Visiting sacred places and areas unique to the history of the tribe are a part of Nez Perce life today.
In Nez Perce, we call this place Excumtilalakpa, which means place of the buffalo calf. They camped this location, they thought the war was over. But yet, some of the old men that were here, not I should say old men, but some of the warriors, like Five Wounds, Rainbow, and also Watotlin. Now, Watotlin is probably one of the main ones. He's an older man, but he is also a duet, a medicine man. And they had dreams of blood inside the water. They had dreams and visions of death here in this valley. There on August 8th, in 1877, there's a lot of things that were going on in this village. You had horse races that was going on here. You had women that were up there up the hillside cutting teepee poles. Some ladies digging katmas, some of the men out hunting and so forth. And so there's a lot of things of typical village life was going on here. That evening of August 8th is a celebration of sorts because they thought the war was over. They headed to a new adventure. There's probably flutes playing here, boys flirting around to girls and so forth. They talked about stick games that were being played at night as well, and bonfires going up. So it was a good time, it was a good feeling. They stayed up real late. During the middle of about maybe, who knows, 3 o'clock or so in the morning, August 9th, 1877, Colonel Gibbon, he arrived with his troops who made a forced march from Fort Shaw, came through Bitterroot Valley, they came to this area. Somewhere along the way, an old man wanted to go check on his horses. In the end, he was half blind, and he woke up and he rode across, and then they heard him, and his horse was moving across over that way. He moved right into one of the soldiers' positions. They were scattered all through here now, all through this area, all the soldiers that were there. He moved into the volunteer section, and he shot at him and killed him. The soldiers then waded across the water and they attacked the village. They were on foot. These were infantry. These were not cavalry, they were infantry. They moved across the river, and the orders of the day by Colonel Gibbon at the time was to shoot low into the teepees. Shoot low, 3 volleys, move, 3 volleys, move. The soldiers did very well. That's exactly what they did. They shot low into the teepees. Many of the people had no idea what hit them. It's just like, as Josiah Redwolf mentioned, it's like rain was falling on a tent. The bullets were hitting that hard. The people were scattered. I mean, again, just chaos, terror took place. They knew they were under attack. They scattered every which way through this location. Soldiers came in there, and again, just shooting and shooting. The Nez Perce were driven on the outside. Again, this side here was completely taken, this whole section of the village area. Other side, the soldiers had a much more rougher time. Some of our bravest warriors died during this battle. And again, that word inside Nez Perce history. In fact, it's a terrible scene how he died. He greeted the soldiers. And he went over there and he jumped inside his rifle pit facing out towards the soldiers. He had him laying by this log. And they were shooting at him. And then later on he felt somebody behind him. He turned around, it was his wife. And she's laying right next to him, and he turned around, run, it's dangerous here, Yates, run. But she didn't run, she wanted to stay by her husband. And soon a volley came over and hit him right in the neck and just flipped him over. She grabbed a weapon of her husband and killed that soldier that killed her husband. Then soon a volley killed her. When they, Nez Perce, recovered the area, they found her draped over her husband just like she was trying to protect him. And later on, a howitzer came. A howitzer that came and they shot it twice, thinking the Nez Perce would be afraid of it. Instead, the Nez Perce attacked it.
and killed a couple of the crew, and the other crew ran away. But again, there's a terrible sounds that happen down this valley, this beautiful valley. The soldiers talk about it as well as in this verse. As Yellow Wolf says, he'd never want to hear that sound again of people coming back inside the village area, the children dead, laying on the ground, babies, head crushed, laying on the ground, their wives killed, their parents killed. The men getting the cries that came from this place, the sorrow, the sadness. The soldiers even talk about that sound, again, that came from this beautiful area. The Nez Perce held them that night, August 9th, and kept them there. Next day, the Nez Perce retreated, and they went on south, headed on towards, well, eventually to Yellowstone. But again, too, the Nez Perce buried their dead all out through this location. It's not over. When General Howard finally arrived, he had Shoshone-Benedict scouts. These Shoshone scouts came down below here, opened up our graves of our people, and scalped and mutilated all of our dead, women and children, that they could find. This is what happened inside this beautiful, beautiful location we call Iskumtilalakpa.
Today, many challenges remain as the Nez Perce work to live as a strong nation. Treaties with the federal government have reduced the land base of the Nez Perce through time. The Nez Perce still face many issues of racism, indifference, and lack of tolerance and understanding of their national and cultural identity. One of the most important concepts for other cultures to understand is that the Nez Perce tribe is a sovereign nation.
The tribe had what was called inherent sovereign power, the right to govern ourselves, and the U.S. Constitution simply reaffirms that as far as the federal government's relationship with the Nez Perce tribe. And Nez Perce tribe has several treaties beginning in 1855, 1863, 1868, and then after they ended the treaty-making process, and then we had what's called an agreement in 1893. So it's clear that the tribe is a sovereign entity.
We're going to continue to progress. We're going to continue to work with all the entities, the different governments that surround us, that mingle with us, even some that don't want to work with us. We're always available. This is for improvement of not only the Nez Perce people, but all the people within the reservation or adjacent to the reservation. We want to help all we can. We have a lot of concerns about degradation of our lands, the waters, the air. And it's only through community joint partnerships that we're going to continue to protect these resources and enhance on them. But the Nez Perce people are here to stay. We're not going anywhere.
The Nimiipuu are facing the future with bravery and self-discipline. In their quest for a just life, they remain generous and hospitable, happy to share of and about themselves with all good-hearted people. The history of the Nez Perce is a living history, being written in the hearts of the people today, so that we the people will always be and always remain Nimiipuu.
Staying together and holding together and being strong, I think is very, very important.
We can remember the sacrifices that were made. It's a part of who we are, but also that we have a responsibility in the future, for future generations, to carry forward who we are as Nez Perce people in our identity, in our language, in our culture, and in our songs.
We need this pride in our young people today. We need some of our young Nez Perce today have no idea about the sacrifices that our old people done to be where we are now. These warriors and women and children that were here and died here, suffered here.
I think today we're a diverse group of people that have something to be very proud of, even where we're at, to be proud of who we are, regardless of our beliefs, regardless of our blood quantum. And if we can do that, then we can have our children do those things and never lose sight, their heart, I guess, They'll never sell the bones of their mother and father.